Hello guys, in today's video we are going to present you the top 5 best garden shredder available on the market. We made this list on our personal preference and sorted it based on their prices, quality, durability and reputation of the manufacturers. Check out the description to find out their prices and more information. We've included the links in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe and hit the bell button for the upcoming video notification. So without further ado, let's get started. The number 1 position is dominating by Bosch AXT 25TC. Bosch shredders dominate the market and with good reason. They are very well built, efficient and generally reliable. Rather like an enormous masticating juicer, this quite electric powered 2500 watt turbine model uses a bladed drum that spins relatively slowly under massive torque, scraping, crushing and cutting branches up to 45 mm in diameter against a solid plate. This model handles both wood and leafy material as was amply demonstrated when I fed it half a fig tree, green fruit and all. It chopped and crushed the whole thing into tiny pieces and deposited them into the box below ready for easy disposal in the garden bin or compost heap. Some shredding aficionados will even spread the nutritious remains over flower beds. Rather considerably of Bosch, this heavyweight model comes ready built with the wheels already attached. So all you need to do is clip in the top hopper, ensure the 53-liter collection box is properly engaged, switch it on the shred. The top of the chute has a wider axis than others in this roundup, and that makes it generally easier to stuff in branches of a more unwieldy nature, while the included temper helps release mutinous vegetation. Granted, it's very top-heavy and quite tricky to move around the garden. The wheels aren't really wide enough apart, but at least it fills in two for easier storage. If you have a mixture of both woody and leafy materials, this Bosch is the best bet. It justifies its slightly higher price by being extremely effective, easy to use and quiet enough to not disturb the neighbors. Moving on to the next, at number 2, we have Bosch AXT Rapid 2200. If you can't afford the all-conquering Bosch AXT 25TC, give this cheaper but equally useful alternative a whirl. It's a lot more mobile for a start though, and you'll need a box, tarpaulin, a garden truck, one of those handy round soft plastic garden tidies the garden centers sell underneath it to collect the ejected detritus. The Rapid 2200 uses tough laser cut blades to slice through vegetation, preferably of the harder and drier variety in its rise. It will happily swallow branches up to 40 mm in diameter though you may need to trim a few stems in order to feed those branches of a more ungainly persuasion into the hopper. This model is quite reminiscent of the much cheaper B&Q model we are quite smitten with above, but given it's a Bosch with a whooping 2200 watt motor attached, we perhaps ill-advisedly assume it will last quite a bit longer, but don't take our word for it. The number 3 position is holding by Dirty Pro Tools Garden Shredder. Dirty Pro Tools probably had a massive laugh after they came up with the name, but it is now dawning on them that they are stuck with it forever. Never mind, their Dirty Garden Shredder may or may not be the Pro, but it is equipped with a powerful 2500 watt engine that should be able to shred most things out of a crowbar. Users queue up to applaud the way this cheap and chunky chaff chewer gulps down branches up to 40 cm in diameter and then furts them out into a large 50-liter box as little wooden chips. Ironically, the more seemingly lightweight likes of leaves can cause it to choke, splatter, and come to a halt, so stick to the heavy stuff. You can clear blockages easily enough by unscrewing a knob and gaining access to the blades. I'd advise doing this with the machine switched off, but it's a free country. As is the case with most shredders, you'll save a lot of hassle by just getting the old leaf blower out, assembling them in a neat pile, then bagging them up. At this price, you're not going to be getting the best quality components, and sure enough, one common online complaint with this shredder is that its blades blunt quickly. On the other hand, which I thankfully still have, to get something that shreds as well as this for a shade over €100 is quite a rare treat. Next at number 4, we have Makita UD2500. The smart-looking electric model is about the same size and weight as the Bosch and just as well built, though some assembly is required, including fitting the wheels. However, it doesn't tackle as many different materials as the Bosch and struggles with anything that has high moisture content like large leaves and soft springly branches. In other words, it's best suited to harder woods and larger branches without too much greenery. I fitted the same type of rose branches that the cheap B&Q model made such light work of, and it jammed up a few times, requiring me to hit the reverse button to free up some of the leafy congestion. Also, it doesn't come with the temper, which would have felt somewhat safer than using a stick to coax in some of the more rebellious stuff. It eventually swallowed the lot, but closer inspection of the huge 67-liter collection been revealed that it had simply crushed rather than cut the branches, and that meant I wasn't able to spray the remnants over the flower beds. However, it made a much better fist of dealing with a couple of 30mm hardwood branches like the Bosch and B&Q. It accepts diameters of up to 45mm once I'd cut off a few gnarly twigs to get the branch through the small hopper opening. It was pretty quiet too, which seemed to please the neighbors. The Makita's price falls somewhere between the Bosch and B&Q. It's a wit, Best Buy, but it loses a bit of a ground for me due to its relative lack of versatility. Finally, at number 5, we have Titan Pro 15 HP petrol chipper shredder mulcher. An altogether more serious proposition, this costly petrol-driven brute annihilates anything up to 75mm in diameter. We're talking about proper tree branches here, and the kind of stuff other domestic shredders fear. If you own your own forest, or at least have a very large garden with lots of trees and shrubs, this could be the shredder for you. Just be sure you are fit enough and have a decent sized outhouse or shed to store it, because despite having wheels, the machine weighs 103 kilograms and the fade hopper is about head height. Also, it splits everything directly on the ground, so your best bet is to use a trampoline to collect all the chippings, or you'll make a right old mess of the lawn. The Titan comes with 2 main portals. The top chute accommodates leaves and twigs up to 10mm and uses flail arm system to mold them into tiny fragments. Look to the side and there's a circular portal for branches up to 75mm diameter. Simply shove in a branch out comes a pile of wood chippings of near sawdust consistency. Unfortunately, the side of the chute only accepts straight branches, so some sawing will inevitably be required. The downside to all this is that the Titan is huge, heavy, ugly, noisy, and it uses an electric start 15 HP 4-stroke engine that will at times require some TLC. If you can stand the racket and your closest neighbors are either a long way away or profoundly deaf, then this beaver of the shredding community is right up your garden path.